It's that guy. Oh, Chase, your shirt is blue! Anyways, it's Tuesday.
Yes. Tuesday.
How's this look?
Carl dangles the lure in front of himself, bouncing it around. Flynn squints at it incredulously. I'm pretty sure his muzzle would have been hanging open if it didn't have a toothpick in his mouth.
Jesus fucking Christ, Carl. What is that? What?
Carl has tied the spinner in a giant ugly knot, and the string is sticking out in every which way.
Fuck, Carl. This is what I told you to... This is why I told you to fucking wait.
I guess Carl had gotten impatient and decided to tie his own lure while Flynn helped me with mine. Flynn takes out a knife from his pocket and takes the spinner from Carl, scowling.
I'd throw this away if I didn't have so fucking few of them. What's wrong with you, Carl?
Carl shoves his balls into his pockets as he watches Flynn struggle with getting the knot fixed.
I don't see what the big deal is. It's attached, isn't it?
He looks at me and grins, shrugging his shoulders. I shrug back.
You made it so fucking big, it's not gonna spin right.
Flynn's muttering angrily under his breath, squeezing his forearms to his chest as he tries to keep his fingers steady. Carl rolls his eyes and looks over at me and grins.
Why are we gonna fish with these when we got an otter with us?
I'm willing.
That's not the point.
Flynn almost growls, prodding and poking at the messy knot.
It's about relaxing. And how's Chase gonna relax swimming around the whole time?
I mean, you know, if you think about it, one of these... When Chase is down there swimming, they'll eventually they'll get a big fish, and when they pull it up, you'll just see, like, Chase hanging from the fishing pole.
Yeah, Flynn. Yeah, it's gonna be Flynn's rod he's attached to. Like,
he's like, "Damn it! How am I strong enough to pull this out of the water?"
Oh, you know, even worse. Damn, this one's too small. Gotta throw it back.
He finally seems to get a handle on the mess and starts tugging out line.
And how am I gonna relax with you fucking everything up?
The line finally drops away from the spinner.
That's what I get for bringing a pothead along. Hey, I'm straight right now.
Flynn snickers.
You sure about that?
Carl rolls his eyes again.
Ask Chase.
I sit on a rock as I slowly reel in my line, watching my spinner glisten into the water. Why are you asking me?
You have... what's it called? Gaydar.
Isn't the idea that everyone has it? He doesn't respond as Flynn starts showing him how to actually tie the line. I come up empty and cast the line out again, listening to the clicking whirl of the reel before the spinner lands with a plop in the middle of the pond. I was wondering where Flynn would go to fish, since he wouldn't go to Lake Emma, obviously. Turns out he and Leo found this pond 20 minutes outside of town, deep into the wilderness. Unsurprisingly, no one comes here, which is why Flynn says the fishing is good. There definitely is something calming about being out in the middle of nowhere, especially with the repetitive motions of fishing to keep you preoccupied. Finally, Flynn finishes showing Carl how to cast, and the ram launches the spinner out almost all the way to the other side of the pond.
Careful, idiot! If you get it snagged at the other end, I'll whoop your ass. Lay off. Oh, lay off, Flynn.
Carl reels in fast, then casts out again, making a pew sound as he does. Flynn sighs before walking up next to me, watching as I reel in much slower. I feel a little self-conscious with the way he stands over me, worried I'm doing something wrong. Sure enough, he steps forward, his chest up against my back as he grips the bowl. Oh no, Flynn is gripping our pole again.
First I'll need the lotion, and then you need to grab it above the rail post. Right here. Okay, sorry. Grab it above the rail post. Here.
He holds the rod, then grabs my paw and slides it up the pole. Then he slides it down again.
And then up again. Just like that.
We're brothers, by the way.
We could be from Alabama.
I hope not. That would mean we would potentially do something else, and I don't want to do that.
That way you can really grip it when you catch something.
He's right up against my back, arms wrapped around me. I swallow and try to focus on the pole. My pole. Alright. I hear him give a low chuckle in his throat, and I glare. Of course, he knows what he's doing right now with my paws and the pole. He's probably rubbing in what he said yesterday. I decide to respond by sliding my tail up the inside of his leg and feeling him shift against me. His chuckle is turning into a grunt of surprise.
What the hell are you guys doing?
Flynn lets go of the pole and steps back as Carl watches us, his face screwed up in an exaggerated disgust.
Showing him how to fish. Now it's your turn, fatty.
Carl pauses on his reeling.
It's not like we haven't done this before. Plus, I don't know if I want to fill your cloaca on my ass. Too bad.
I focus back on fishing, feeling a little warm from the close encounter I just had with Flynn. I'm a little angry that he'd try that, especially so soon after what had happened. I try to focus on how relaxing the motions are. Sweeping the lake clockwise, I cast out again and again and again. If I really did want to catch fish, though, I would be swimming in the water right now. It isn't too hard to do. I've done it several times when I was younger in the reservoir. Of course, that's less relaxing since you have to actively search for fish rather than just sit placidly until one bites your lure. I've never killed one before, though.
Careful, Carl!
I wince and look to the side, seeing Flynn covering his head and ducking as Carl's lure bounces and swings above him.
You didn't let go of the fucking button!
Carl shrugs and starts to swing his pole around, trying to unwrap the line from his pole.
Well, if you weren't right up against my tail, you wouldn't have to worry about that. I'm trying to show you. Kapoo!
Carl launches his lure over the pond so far that it almost lands on the opposite bank. It does, however, wrap tightly around a branch, sticking up from a fallen log in the shallows.
Oh. Fucking believable. Oh. Shit.
He starts tugging and pulling, trying to get it untangled from the log.
No, stop. You're gonna have to walk around the edge and get it. What? There's fucking cacti on the edges. No way in hell. Too bad. That's one of my last fucking lures. What? Come on.
Carl's shoulders slump as he looks out across the pond. I sigh and set down my pole and start slipping my shirt off, followed by pants. After a pause, I decide to take off my boxers too. It's not like Jenna's here. It takes them a while to stop arguing about the plural form of cactus and realize that I am now nude.
Oh, Chase?
I'll get the damn lure. Stop arguing.
Just wanted an excuse to give a little striptease, huh?
I start helicoptering.
Working for the Weekend begins playing out of nowhere.
Yeah. Shut up. We've all seen each other naked. I do try to angle my hips away so they can't see my balls and cock, which is hard to do considering I've got a pretty steep bank to wobble over. I manage it though, and pretty soon I'm sludging through thick mud.
Careful. I don't know what the fuck's in there.
Didn't you say no one comes here? I don't get his response because I dive in right after that, the familiar feeling of water closing up around me, cutting off air and sound. Again, it's a huge relief to be back in the water, and I drift towards the bottom. It's not deep at all, and the water here has an almost slimy feel that I don't like. Still, it's better than nothing, and I undulate slowly across the pond. Doesn't take long to reach the log, as it's only about 30 feet away. I have to bob a few times to the surface to look around, though, since the water's too murky to see through. I'm actually kinda starting to regret doing this. I try to remember if I have any cuts or sores I'm gonna have to douse in peroxide later. That's when my paw bumps the log, and I bob back to the surface, wiping a paw across my eyes. I see the line glinting above me, some drops of pond water clinging to it. I reach up and grasp it between my index and thumb and follow it to the branch. I see Carl give a few tugs.
Hey, Chase! Flynn says that there's leeches in the pond!
I hear a loud smack followed by a yelp.
Don't fucking yank it around! You gonna snag his eyeball?
I ignore them as I search for the lure. I continue to follow the line until I lean over the log and spot the spinner, shimmering in the sunlight, the hook wedged into the soft, wet wood. It comes out easily, and I carefully lift it, making sure I'm out of the way of the hook in case Carl decides to yank the line again. When I turn around, I'm glad to see Flynn's got the pole now. I hold up the lure to show him, and I let it drop back into the water. Flynn slowly starting to reel it back in. I go back in, slowly swimming back to the opposite bank.
I feel something sharp touching my balls.
At that point, I see a silver flash to the right of my field of vision. I look over and see a fish swimming lazily over some plant life at the bottom of the pond. I pause and I would have smiled if my mouth wasn't going to fill with pond water. It would be funny, after all this time, with the lures and the ponds, for me to just pop out of the water with a fish in my paw. I swim over to it slowly, lingering to the side, so I won't block the sunlight before diving down and snatching it up. I latch in my claws to keep it from escaping as I give a little wiggle of delight. It's been a long time since I've done this, but it looks like I've still got it. I turn around and start swimming back to Flynn and Carl, and that's when I suddenly feel like I'm being watched. It's not the typical feeling, though. It's much more intense. I pause and look back over my shoulder, then forward again. It's pointless because everything's cloudy and I can't see more than 10 feet. I've sunk down to the bottom of the pond, both of my feet resting in deep muck as I crouch, trying to figure out where this feeling is coming from. It doesn't help that my head is starting to buzz, a tone building in my head that sounds like an orchestra tuning. I haven't been down that long. I shouldn't be running out of air. Of course, I should just swim to the surface, where it's bright and safe, but I don't, because this feels too familiar. I think back to when I was 12, playing in the abandoned school with Carl. I was hiding from him on the second floor in a second floor classroom when I felt this exact feeling. Intense, almost physical, like a hand was grabbing onto the back of my neck. I look around again, and then finally look down at the fish in my paws. And now I know where it's coming from. Before I know it, I'm whipping upwards, breaking through the surface, in less than a second, swimming towards my friends. I stumble onto the bank, splashing water everywhere as I do. I'm not holding the fish anymore.
What the fuck were you doing?
I try to steady my breathing, hoping that they'll just think it's because I was down so long, rather than me being freaked the fuck out. Carl's lapping next to Flynn as I start pressing my paws down my body, trying to speed up the drying process. What? Carl shrugs, but Flynn smacks him upside the head again.
He pissed in the water while you were under.
Great. Honestly, I don't really care right now.
I wouldn't worry about it. You didn't come up near it. And there's probably worse in there anyway. Speaking of which, why didn't you go further up the stream and wash up? I don't want you bringing pond shit into my truck.
Okay. I sigh and pick up my clothes, just glad that they seemingly haven't noticed anything's off. Luckily for me, Flynn's parked right next to the stream, so it's pretty easy to find. It's freezing cold, though, compared to the pond, so I get washed up quickly. I gasp as I splash the water over my body, shivering before I stand back and start squeezing the water out of my fur again.
Everything okay?
I jump and look back. Flynn's leaning against his truck, arms folded, watching me. I blush. It was easier to be naked in front of two of them, but for some reason it just being Flynn makes it way more embarrassing. I turn back around, pressing my tail harder against my ass as I wave my arms up and down, trying to dry off. Yeah, come for a show?
Heh, always. Oh, heh, yeah, always wanted to see the naked otter mimicking a bird.
Shut up. I'm trying to dry off. Flynn doesn't say anything, so I just turn around, not even bothering to cover up. Paws on my hips. Okay, seriously. You just come to see me naked? He hasn't moved at all, but he cracks a smile.
Maybe.
I don't let that trip me up and, instead, thrust my hips out, legs spread. Well, there you go.
Helicopter, helicopter. I got a towel in my truck. You like that?
I'm still smiling, and his eyes definitely aren't on mine. Flynn has flirted with me before, even while I was dating Leo. I vaguely remember there being some altercations between the two. I make my way towards the truck, again trying to angle my hips away from them. You really know how to creep a guy out. I lift up on the handle, but the door hasn't opened. Hey, unlock the, Something shoves me hard into the small shoves hard into the small of my back, and I'm thrown forward to land with a wet splat against the hot metal of Flynn's truck. What the hell? Something tall, skinny, and muscular presses up against my back. Chills run down my spine as Flynn's muzzle snuffles into my ear, a low growling in his voice.
You really think you can just tease me like that and get away with it?
His paws slide around my body, between the car and my stomach before moving up to my chest. I'm frozen that way, paws against the passenger window as I stare in shock through it at the truck's steering wheel, though I'm not really seeing it. There's a pause, and I think it's because he's waiting for my response to see if I tell him to stop or not. I don't, though, and I lean my head back into his neck, feeling my entire body break out in goosebumps as he rubs at my chest.
You like that, don't you?
I respond with a gasp as his sharp teeth graze across one of my stubby ears, his hot breath sending another wave of chills over my skin. His hands slide back down, slowly, feeling out my body.
Acting like a little slut. You didn't think this was gonna happen?
I stiffen a little under the remark and lift my tail up again between his legs. You're one to fucking talk. I'm not completely sure about what's going on, if this is a spur-of-the-moment thing, or if he's just trying to prove a point. What I do know is that we both won it. Okay, so Chase is very much like a bottom, so we'll let him do his work. You ever seen a bottom try to top when they don't do it regularly? They're just very unsure about what they're supposed to do.
They're just awkward.
Yeah, it tends to be very awkward. But sometimes they can be fun. But those are called switches, not bottoms. Flynn's not too bad with his hands. I want to see what he does. Flynn pauses for a second as if he's having second thoughts, but after a while he goes on.
Damn, you're fucking hot.
He rubs my stomach, which I suck in and I have to keep from whimpering as one of his fingers teases at my belly button.
I like skinny guys. Is that just a natural part of being an otter? I can tell you don't work out.
Hey, I still have to keep in shape. I swim. I can't go on as he breathes into my ear again, making me gasp and lean my head back, biting my lip.
Sensitive ears, huh?
Finally, he gets to my lower stomach and he pauses, waiting again for my response. Again, I don't say anything, instead pushing my butt into his crotch and thighs. One of his pinky fingers prods gently at the top of my sheath. Suddenly he lets go from cupping my stomach to cup my balls, pushing the furry sack up against my body. I gasp loudly, eyes wide as I feel my sheath filling up as his thumbs prod at my nuts. There's something mind-blowingly bizarre about having one of my childhood friends groping me like this, and it's got me all kinds of confused. 3 years ago, just before I left, this would have been insane. No way in hell would I have been okay with it. But now, something about the time we'd been apart has made it all of this okay, and incredibly hot. I think not having any sort of release over the past few days has had something to do with it. Flynn suddenly lets go, then grabs me by the shoulders and turns me around roughly. Once my back is pressed firmly against the truck, he grabs my wrists and pins them up over my head. By my head. With my body fully exposed, he looks me over, a hungry look in his eyes. I stand there, feeling vulnerable under his gaze, especially when he gets to my junk. I get I get harder just with him looking over at it. His eyes flick back up to mine, and I look back at him, then give him a smirk. He looks at me. I look at him.
Hey, look at him.
Sorry, what did you do?
I'm sorry. What did you want again?
All those memes.
Yeah. It takes just one line to catch on.
Flynn sneers back, and suddenly his head dives in. I have just a second to gasp before I feel his muzzle close around my neck, and I freeze, fur standing up all over my body. Flynn gently undulates his head, getting his teeth past the thick fur on my neck to prick at the skin underneath. I stare at the sky, mouth hanging open as I clutch at his chest, feeling the chuckle pass his pecs as he keeps me pinned. Then he presses his thick, strong tongue through my fur to tease at the flesh, pressing against the pulse of my neck. My knees go weak and I sag against the truck, letting out a loud, gasping whimper. It spurs the lizard on. He lets out another chuckle, doing it again, clearly wanting me to make more noises. How the hell did he know all my weak spots? For some reason, I start to wonder if he's talked to Leo about me, and that brings up all kinds of complications I don't want to think about right now. I shove it to the back of my mind. Besides, I know Flynn's weak spots too. Flynn brings down my right paw from its position against the window, which is fine, because it wants to start falling asleep. But then he presses it against his stomach. He's warm and soft, his leathery hide sliding smoothly along the muscles of his belly. It's clear he doesn't work out either, but I'm okay with that. I press against him and he gives a slight huff through his nostrils. Then he starts to slide my paw lower, past the waistband of his pants, under his boxers. I can't see what's going on, since he's got his mouth against my neck. That's when I feel something hot and smooth against my fingertips. I grin, feeling mischievous. I wrap my paw around Flynn's rock-solid member and give a brisk, smooth pump. He moans, practically melting over me now, his muzzle in the crook of my neck, and I think I feel him drooling down my back.
Shit. You must have been a handful for Wolfie Boy. He's not the type to easily submit.
Flynn's right. Leo was a stubborn boyfriend and in and out of the bedroom. With a lot of coaxing, I could eventually get him to see things my way, but that hardly ever happened. I guess I had a lot more energy as a teenager, more zest, I guess. It's hard to explain, but over the years I've just become more, well, exactly what Flynn's accused me of being. Personally, I just chalk it up to growing up. But right now, I do sort of feel like my old self, and that's kind of incredible. Hey, I'm a versatile otter. I like to trade off. I grin as Flynn guides my paws into his briefs, returning a smirk. Let's push down his pants. We'll just take this even further and see where he calls it. Push down his pants. I'm about to pull my paws out of Flynn's grasp when he steps back. He lets go of my wrists, the expression on his face strange again. He's looking for something. I'm confused, still sort of slack-jawed as I stare back at him. What? Slowly his expression becomes more resolute, almost dark as he steps further back away from me, folding his arms.
Nothing. Just realized that Carl could see us. We shouldn't have done this here.
Huh? He's acting like I started this. I'm feeling self-conscious now that he's clearly not interested in continuing. I turn away slightly, one paw against the car as I angle my body so I can't see his dick anymore. I look back over my shoulder at him, feeling myself getting angrier. Hey, you're the one! He's already turned around and headed back towards the pond. I watch him go, feeling bewildered and maybe even a little hurt. Asshole. I mutter it under my breath. Did he stop because he decided I wasn't up to his standards? That idea hurts even more because I imagine those are pretty low. I stand there for a while longer, feeling like a complete idiot before finally heading back to the stream. I picked up all kinds of shit from smearing my body against his dirty truck. I'll be sure to not let him take advantage of me so easily again. We're headed down Elizabeth Street after dropping Carl off. The drive only a little awkward. Flynn's really good at acting like nothing's wrong when he wants to, and I'm totally fine with that right now. That's when I see a set of familiar ears through the window of the convenience store. Hey, is that TJ? Flynn ducks his head to look out my window.
Looks like it.
He flips a U-turn, which isn't a big deal since no one's on the road, and pulls up into the parking lot. What are you doing?
Oh, stopping by to say hi.
Oh, okay. I guess I need to buy some stuff anyway. I look out the window so Flynn can't see the look on my face. I already know that this is a bad idea. TJ's at the register. His ears flick in our direction before he turns to see us. At first he smiles when he sees me, but then his ears fall flat when he sees Flynn coming in behind me. Jenna pokes her head out from behind TJ, and now I know that this is a really bad idea. They're both a little dirty, and TJ has his backpack on. I wave at them to let them know I've seen them before moving towards the back of the store. I need to get some bottled water since I don't really like drinking from the faucet in the motel. I hear Flynn say something as he walks up to them, and I silently hope that by the time I get back everything will be magically resolved. Because the old corner market closed, this is the only place where you can buy food, aside from the diner. Looking around at the selection, I can see why Flynn takes the 30-minute drive to Peyton to get his food. I grab a few water bottles and head back to the front. My hopes of a resolution are dashed as I see the awkward situation unfolding in front of me. TJ's standing on the other side of Jenna now, keeping her between him and Flynn. No one's saying anything as I get to the register, the air tense and TJ fidgeting with his facial fur. As I pull out my wallet, I look over at Jenna. Hey, how was your hike? Fine. Hot. The red fox doesn't recognize... A red fox I don't recognize takes the $2 I hand him. I feel Flynn shift around next to me. Then I hear him take in a breath.
Hey, Teach, did you...
Hey, Flynn. Did you forget what happened yesterday? I cringe. Jenna's tone is sharp, and now I just wish I could turn invisible.
Huh?
Can't you tell he doesn't want to talk to you? Flynn doesn't say anything. The tension is so thick in the air, I feel like I'm back in the slimy pond. The cashier fox pauses and handing me my change, staring at Flynn and Jenna. Thanks. I almost yell as thanks! I almost yell as I reach out for the money, as if the volume of my voice will make everyone forget and provide Flynn the opportunity to escape. It doesn't work. We're not kids anymore, Flynn. You can't just treat us like crap and expect us to act like it's okay when you decide we're worth talking to again. Flynn's hunched forward, staring off to the side, towards the back of the store. TJ suddenly heads for the door, and I can see his face twitching as he passes me. Jenna follows him past Flynn before turning around as she reaches the door. If you want to talk to us again, you're going to have to act like an adult and apologize. Otherwise, later. She exits, leaving us in the most awkward, painful silence I've ever heard in my life. The clerk openly stares at Flynn. I fumble with the change in my wallet, trying to pretend like nothing happened. Do you wanna... Flynn turns and walks out the door. I watch him get into his truck, then pull out, his face expressionless. For a while, I stare at the empty parking space as I slowly shove my wallet back into my pocket. The clerk, without anyone else to stare at, is now staring at me. Annoyed, I look right at him. What? He stares back at me, expression vacant. Oh?
Huh?
He's young, but the patchy fur and missing teeth. He's young, but the patchy fur and missing teeth and the look in his eyes tells me everything I need to know. I suddenly realize where I am and where I come from, and this alone squashes all the good feelings I have left of today. This fox in front of me practically embodies all of the problems of this small town. I feel such a bizarre, intense wave of hatred for him that I have to leave the store. Pressing the 2 water bottles against my chest with one arm, I shove my free paw into my pocket, staring at the ground as I walk back to the hotel. I'm sick of him thinking that he can do whatever he wants without any sort of consequences. Jenna rustles around in the drawer before using her hip to close it with a snap as she turns to me. I'll apologize to him once he apologizes for ruining the trip. I open my mouth and close it again. Of course, asking Jenna to make up with Flynn is a lost cause. It's like asking Carl to take off his beanie. Sitting on... yeah, we tried that before, it didn't work.
Yeah, we know exactly how that went.
Sitting on the bed, I glance at the bathroom door. The faint sounds of TJ showering coming from within. I hear Jenna sigh before the bed wobbles as she takes the seat next to me. I'd probably feel bad for him if he hadn't fucked everything up already. I rub the back of my neck with a hand, trying to think of something I can say to convince her. It's just that Flynn is always like that. He doesn't mean anything bad. Yeah, well, I'm sick of having to deal with it. He needs to learn how to not talk like an asshole. This is one of the reasons why Flynn never fucks with Jenna, or really says anything to her at all. She's kind of exempt from the whole unspoken pact we made. Just let Flynn's dickishness slide. Even sensitive TJ accepts it and takes the playful rubbing as well. Well enough. I hear the shower shut off, followed by the high-powered whoosh of the hotel's cheap dryer. Being a lynx, TJ probably had to stand in that thing for a good 10 minutes before he was even damp. We're adults now. if he wants to get anywhere in life, he needs to shape up. He's getting along all right. Jenna snorts. Yeah, if he's planned to stay here for the rest of his life. I mean, what's wrong with that? I can tell Jenna's giving me a look, but I don't give her the satisfaction of turning my head to see it. Seriously? Anyway, it's clearly a defense mechanism. If he feels vulnerable, he feels vulnerable without his "I'm an asshole" blanket. I mean, you're not a psychiatrist yet, Jenna. I'm not going to be a psychiatrist, but you don't need a psych degree to see it. I don't respond, not seeing the point of arguing about Flynn any further. Jenna stretches, then gets up to go over to her laptop on the small table while I lay back on the bed, closing my eyes. Absent-mindedly, I pull out my phone, discovering a text from Leo.
I forgot to tell you that we're having a surprise party for Carl tomorrow.
I frown and type out a quick response. You're telling us now? It's not until next month. What's up? Jenna's looking up from her laptop at the expression on my face. Leo says we're having a surprise party for Carl tomorrow. Oh, yeah. You knew? Well, yeah. Leo told us on the drive back from the river. My phone buzzes again.
Sorry, but we're going to the store tomorrow to get some presents, so don't worry about it.
I frown. This is kind of weird. A whole month early? Jenna struggles and looks back down at her laptop. Something to do, I guess. I guess. I tap out another response to Leo again. I have a lot to do tomorrow. I was planning to get some footage in the morning. Leo's always been weird. Do you follow any of his accounts? He's always posting pics of his food and stuff. Leo is a girl. He's
a food podcaster.
He's always taking pictures of his
food. What was it? A food drammer, Instagrammer.
Yeah. Whenever he takes pictures
Blogger.
of himself, his mouth is always like wide open. He's got like a salad.
And the most awkward look you could ever find.
My phone buzzes. Go ahead.
Well, I guess I can get the present for you, but you're definitely going to the party, and then we're gonna go out to see a movie.
I suppose that doesn't sound too bad as long as I'm able to get at least something done for the project. Something is still bothering me about the whole get-together, though. I can go to the party, but I might need to stay and do more project stuff. What about Flynn? I send that one with some hesitation, feeling like me and Leo are conspiring behind Flynn's back. Then I remember what I did behind Leo's back with Flynn, and my toes curl reflexively and cringe. Yeah, technically, it's none of Leo's business what I do, but it doesn't change the feeling of wrongness I have about it. I toy with the idea of texting Flynn as well, but knowing him, he probably won't respond right now. I'm sorry to you, at least. I look up from my phone at Jenna, who's clacking busily away on her laptop. For what? Her typing pauses. Because pissing Flynn off like that is just going to make this an even shittier vacation. I sigh and look back down at my phone, waiting for Leo's response. Well, I don't know. I guess he needed to hear it from someone. My phone buzzes again.
I had a talk with him. It's fine.
I'm about to say something else to Jenna, but I can hear TJ sliding open the door, so I just shut my mouth and close my eyes again.